The era of ideation with AI, using AI to rapidly create, run, and grow businesses. The potential for this has been absolutely insane, and every single day there's something mind-blowing coming up. If you guys subscribe to any of the Reddits or anything like that, it's just completely crazy right now. And so I'm going to shed a little bit of some of that light with you guys. For some of you, if you guys are in the splash zone of me at Driftwood, you probably heard about a good bit of this. So I'm going to go ahead with a little bit about me. Just to help you with the credentials and everything, graduated from Georgia Tech with a degree in computational media, which is essentially combining computer science and liberal arts. I was very interested in creating a product from beginning to end. And initially I did want to do video game development, and that's where I got my first taste of building three-dimensional worlds, AI, procedural generation, and then I eventually switched over to doing interaction design, application development, virtual reality development, all of that. Currently I am a software architect for General Dynamics, contracted out to the CDC. I'm also an entrepreneur. I co-founded 2 startups. One was SureMeds, which is pretty much like GoodRx, arguably better. Though unfortunately at the end of it, one of the co-founders ended up leaving for a full ride at Harvard, so it didn't end up finishing that, unfortunately. The current startup I'm in is Glostex, which some of you know is a future technology for mapping tongue movements into BLE commands, which will also involve machine learning and AI in the future as well. I'm also actively contributing to the development of top AI tools such as AutoGPT, and am involved in the conversation. I've joined the Discord for certain various AI channels, and am involved in some conversations with how they can pursue things in the future, how it's affected society, all that kind of jazz. And then also it's my session. People often tell me to shut up because I talk about it too much. You can ask Tony.
Never.
Literally.
That's because they're stupid.
But yeah, so a little bit about me. So outline, just what we're going to be going through. Introduction to generative AI. Generative AI is essentially all the AI, almost all the AI that you've been seeing, anything that generates content. Why this spawns the era of ideation, why we should act now, the latest AI tools and applications for those, multimodal AI and AI agents, some sample use cases I had ChatGPT mock up, and then finally we're going to put it all together and how you can start a business from the ground up using some of these AI tools. And at the end, something empowering for you guys to get off your asses and do something, because it's really easy now. All right, so generative AI and its impact on small businesses and startups. I figured that would be more our demographic here. I don't know if many people who are looking, you can enhance your big businesses, but I'm more of an entrepreneur mindset. I know a lot of you are, so I'll be focusing a bit on that. So generative AI is a subfield of artificial intelligence that focuses on creating content, including images, text, audio, and more. Obviously, you guys know this can be used for marketing, content creation, customer support, etc. I have a couple examples here of what I've done. I've created a website called The Lord's Helper. Essentially, I use ChatGPT to help create some of the content, the code for it, as well as provide the service. So essentially, you can describe anything you'd like to pray for and receive a prayer, but also Bible verses that are related to whatever the context is of your situation. So you say, I'm having a hard time, my son's not doing well or whatever, you can do that and it can generate that for you. And then I also use, but it's a combination, it's not just ChatGPT, there's a lot of other AI tools. One of them I use was Midjourney, which is, some of you may have heard, and I'll also do a demo of that later. If you guys think of any kind of image, the craziest image or whatever you'd like to see generated, I'll do that in the video. So if any of you guys have the top one, let me know when it comes and I'll do that for you, generate an image. But essentially you can generate any kind of image, including UI, UX, website design. This entire thing, except for the words, when you generate in Midjourney, they typically are just gibberish. So I use a little bit of Photoshop just to remove them and then just add actual words, but the words are still there. So that's pretty much, I combined these two things, was able to pump this out. And then an example of AutoGPT, there's a story behind this that I might tell you later of. That I could create a Twitter bot or whatever bot to autonomously do certain things, such as make this post, and also research items for you as well, which is really awesome, which I'll get to in a bit with AutoGPT. So going back to why this is essentially the era of ideation is because the era of digital craftsmanship is essentially over. Our graphic designs, our logos, our copywriting, our marketing, almost virtually everything that we do on the computer is no longer going to be a skill that we have. It can be, but it's not going to be required, which allows anyone with ideas to essentially create from the ground up their own businesses. And this is possible like right now. This is something we should definitely do, but also with AutoGPT and further AIs, it can almost be done entirely autonomously, which I'll show you in a bit. So there's a couple statements and questions that people say, and there's all these other roles that apply. So for instance, I have an idea for an app. If I had a nickel every time someone said that, I'd be rich. So that involves like a founder, someone who has the idea, a developer, someone could develop the app, a new design modified logo, UI UX person, graphic designer, ideal market, competitor, prices, market researcher, how to handle operations, logistics expert, manage customer support, technician, grow my social media content manager, commercial ads, video, music, voice production. All of this can be done right now. These are all jobs that people would have to hire to try and create their businesses, but it all can be done right now. Oh, and also, let me go back. Also, this is generated with Midjourney. I put the prompt here that I put into Midjourney, which is John Lennon playing guitar and planet in space and surrounded by cute animals, planets in the background in space, wide shot, epic, version 5. So that's Midjourney version 5. You can put all these tags, you can change the aspect ratio, you can do all these other things. So that's just an example of like what you can do. So this is a little analogy I like to have, where this is like the ratio, essentially, of like AI helping us in succeeding our business versus like not. So in the beginning, we were in the too dumb area where the AI was just getting there, but now we've reached the habitable zone, or the Goldilocks zone, as a lot of you may know, which is that sweet spot right where plants can be that can support life. And so right now we are right in the ideal conditions where AI is just right. It's not too smart and not too dumb, but when it gets too smart, then our time for us being able to innovate and do things on our own and really get ahead in this world right now will be limited, because we're going to approach some things like UBI. We're going to be unemployable. For those of you who don't know, UBI is Universal Basic Income. There'll be things that have to change with society that will have to adapt with us being unemployable. So before that happens, ideally, we would be on the higher echelon of people that succeed before this transition happens, because I don't see it not being that messy. I don't see it not being not messy, if that makes sense. I don't know why I said it that way. Anyways, you're here, by the way. So some generative AI tools. So text generation, obviously you have ChatGPT, Llama, which is a large language model, Meta AI, which is Meta's like ChatGPT essentially, Perplexity AI, Google Bard, and for those of you who don't know, ChatGPT is, at least on its own, cannot access the internet. It only has things from 2021 and prior. However, ChatGPT 4 has a bit more updated, I'd say like 2022, and also a much bigger data set. It's vastly superior to ChatGPT 3. If you guys are still using 3, I highly recommend getting 4 because it is much better in virtually every aspect. So Google Bard, Microsoft Bing. If you use one of those two, highly recommend Microsoft Bing instead. Bard has fallen behind. Google's been dropping the ball. If you guys have been watching the news, like they have not been catching up to what Microsoft Bing can do. So I'm not sure if the waitlist still exists, but I highly recommend joining the waitlist for Microsoft Bing, because it's essentially ChatGPT, but it can search the web, summarize things, do research for you, and all that. So I'm going to give some examples here with audio generation. This is another one. Some examples are 11 Labs for voice, as well as Sounddraw.io for music. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little recording of my voice. I essentially told ChatGPT here to create a monologue for me, and I'm just going to go ahead and record, and then I'm going to put it into 11 Labs, and I can create any kind of text that can sound like me. So like you can have like a spokesperson or whatever whenever you're creating content. If you just create a transcript, you can have a voiceover on it that you don't have to do yourself, and you can have it automatically generate these things. So I'm going to go ahead and just record this real quick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about the promising future of artificial intelligence in our daily lives. The possibilities are endless, and the benefits are immeasurable. AI technology is already helping us in ways we never thought possible, and it's only going to get better. With AI, we can expect personalized experiences that are tailored to our unique needs and preferences. Imagine having an assistant that knows you better than you know yourself, anticipating your every need and making your life easier. From shopping to healthcare to entertainment, AI will transform the way we live, work, and play. AI will also revolutionize the way we do business. With advanced analytics and predictive modeling, companies can make better decisions and improve their bottom line. They can also create products and services that are more intuitive and user-friendly, resulting in higher customer satisfaction and loyalty. And let's not forget about the incredible impact AI will have on healthcare. It will enable doctors to make a faster, more accurate diagnosis and developed personalized treatment plans based on individuals' unique genetic makeup. This will lead to better patient outcomes and higher quality of life for millions of people around the world. But with all this promise comes a responsibility to ensure that AI is used ethically and responsibly. We must consider the potential risks and unintended consequences of this powerful technology and work to mitigate them. As we continue to develop and improve AI, we must do so with a clear sense of purpose and commitment to making a world a better place. So, let's embrace the future of AI and all the incredible possibilities it holds. Let's work together and harness its power and use it to create a brighter, more prosperous future for us all. So that's about a minute and a half. I'm just going to go ahead and go to 11 Labs here. So essentially they have all these pre-made voices that you can use. You have a text to generate and you can create an audio file. In this case, I do want to use my voice, but I'll just go ahead and show a pre-made voice here.
Hello, my name is Evan. Join me in harnessing the potential of AI to become a one-man or woman army for creating and running your business. Let's go!
Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and add my voice. So it's called instant voice cloning. You can add up to 25 samples. This is just a minute and a half. They used to recommend 5 minutes. So this is just with this small amount of data that I just did, what it's going to be able to generate. So I'm going to hit done. Show as finder. Alright. Oops. I'm going to drag this in. And I'll name it Evan 2 because I did do a little thing before. I think I have to add labels. Put plus down. Oops, sorry. Accent. So you can add labels to it like American,
British.
stuff like that. British can do that. So yeah, so now I'm adding it. Their Ev2 is cloned. So now I can go back and there's cloned Ev2. So based on my minute of audio, this is what it can generate. And also at the same time, I can change the voice settings as well. If it seems a little weird, I can have it be more stable, which will make the voice more consistent, but it'll also make it sound more monotone. Clarity, boost overall voice clarity, etc. So there are things you can tweak. This is going to sound, I don't really know how this is going to sound because it kind of is random every time I generate it. We'll see. Hello, my name is Evan. Join me in harnessing the potential of AI to become a one-man or woman army for creating and running your business. Let's go. All right, so with that, like you can do it multiple times and it can change. Hello, my name is Evan. Join me in harnessing the potential. I don't know why he sounds like he's yelling, but but that being said, this was only like a minute and a half of my voice. Imagine giving it like 5 more samples, adding on all those more minutes, how much better it'll get my inflections, because it'll only take from that data. It didn't hear too much changes within my voice within that time. So this is an example of something you can do. You can put over transcripts for videos, whatever you think, and then you can use ChatGPT to generate the transcripts for you based on whatever you're talking about. So yeah, example of audio generation. There's sounddraw.io, which is also awesome. A music generator. Essentially, it can create any kind of music. You pick a genre. And there's also other AIs as well that can be through text. You can be like, oh, make it sound like this or make it sound like whatever. But for the hell of it, I'm just going to hit euphoric. And then essentially it'll just create all these different possible sounds that are completely unique, haven't been made before, that you can use in any kind of videos or any kind of marketing that you're using. So here's an example. So, and what's awesome is as it's playing, it shows the sections. I can change the tempo, so. And so like I can go in, modify the sound however I want. I can look at the timestamps. There's also AIs I believe in with Canva that will like timestamp based on the video, like all your different like scenes. It's insane, it's incredible. And so, example, AI generated music, you have voice, you have music. Next we'll have image and text generation. So I'll go ahead and right. So image video generation, we have Midjourney, DALL-E, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard, NVIDIA Runway ML, which is absolutely insane, which I can show you a little YouTube video on that. I have access to Gen 1, but not Gen 2, which is showing a bit. Meta make a video, also text to video. Adobe Firefly is going to be absolutely insane. Like you can do anything with it. And what's awesome is Canva also has a lot of things that you can use as well. I can show you an example of Canva like pretty much right now. And then make it 3D is also going to be a big thing. Instead of text to image, text to 3D object. So you're going to be able to do like augmented reality, virtual reality. You can put it in games. Like whenever we have these kinds of things needed for virtual objects, you can have it. If you want it on the Amazon store and you need that virtual object, because I'm not sure if you guys know, you can use an AR option in Amazon where it doesn't have it for every single item, but if the item provides it, you can just essentially place an item in your room or what have you and be able to see it. There's also other things. I think it's called NERFs, which are essentially like I can take a picture and just different angles and then create the 3D object that way as well. But we won't get much into 3D in this topic. We can talk about in the future or a possible use case. So I'm just going to go ahead and demo Midjourney right now. Has anyone thought of anything interesting that they would like to see? If not, I will.
How do you... After you're done with this, can you show me how you got a subscription?
How you got it? Oh yeah, sure, I can show you.
It is a never-ending stupid loop.
It's not very intuitive, unfortunately. So as part of like if we do workshop and stuff, I'll definitely be like working on that.
And you know that it might help everybody. And I don't know if this was something you had in mind already. But it might help everybody to ask a text generator for prompts for Midjourney.
So that is possible. There actually probably is. So like I also, alright, so I wasn't gonna cover this either, but like I have Chrome extensions for ChatGPT that could essentially enhance it. So as you guys can see, mine is probably different than yours. But it has all these different prompt templates that I can use custom made already by people around the world who have created prompts that can help them in certain things. And I believe there's a Midjourney prompt right there.
What's the name of this?
I'd like to see something that, how to generate a landscape image, because
Sure.
the standard is just a square, right?
Sure. So there are options. I'm not as familiar, but there are Midjourney, like with the prompt that comes with like prompt engineering. They have specific option tags that you can put that will change the aspect ratio or whatever you want, 4K resolution, what have you. That being said, I mean, I haven't brushed up on as much as it, but you can definitely do that. You just have to put in the optional parameters for it.
What was the name of the extension?
So this extension, and also just a little disclaimer on the extensions, they're third parties, you know, so like you're gonna want to find someone that's popular, but at the same time they're third parties, and you know there could be potentially some possibility of malicious software or whatever in that, so you should be careful with using that. So just a full disclaimer. This one I believe is the ChatGPT for search engine. Yeah, for search engines and prompt templates. And so essentially can do this, I can just go in and edit what I want here, and then it'll create some kind of prompt for me. And we can do this for virtually like any kind of use case. You saw all of these different YouTube video topic idea, description, TikTok tutorial, case study, like, I mean, it's endless. So highly recommend this extension. Again, it's called ChatGPT for search engines and prompt templates. I'm not going to do the Midjourney thing right now. I mean, in terms of create the prompt, I'm just going to do one here. So, a crowd sitting in a theater, or not a crowd, a person sitting in a theater, giving a lecture with two bunnies next to him. And it's underwater. I don't even know what that's gonna do, but we'll figure it out. And what's awesome is it will generate variations. So like I'm essentially in a group chat right here where you can see what everyone's things are. So Arnold Schwarzenegger with an 8-month pregnant belly pushing a baby stroller in a realistic 4K whatever. So pretty interesting. Like you'll get a lot of various generations, but again, it is also very dependent on the description that you give it and what you get. So prompt engineering is very important here. But the thing is, with all the different AIs, there's different versions of prompt engineering.
So cute.
So yeah, so this is, I know this is still being generated right now. Okay, yeah. So Yeah, so that just got generated in a matter of minutes. So imagine any kind of product you have, and also you can upload images as well and update the images as well in the chat. And then you can put options to say, I want the image to have this much of a weight, so it's more the image and like some excess styling, or you want more styling to happen. Yes, Amanda?
So you can upload images now
Yes.
and say like, modernize this logo
Yes.
for me.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, you can. So I might have a workshop on Midjourney because it's kind of complicated. It's not entirely intuitive. I mean, you can get stuff, but for the exact things you want, it'll be interesting. So anyways, yeah, so that's an example of using Midjourney. You can use it for image generation in virtually any kind of marketing or to create any products. So yeah, there's that. And, okay. And so then obviously when this came out, I showed a ton of you right away. But this is the Gen 1 of Runway ML, which is video editing software. And this came out 2 months ago.
Image generation models have taken the world by storm. It's now possible for anyone to turn their ideas into images using nothing but words. The explosion of creativity these models unleashed was years in the making. In 2021, Runway introduced latent diffusion, an AI system that was able to generate realistic images using an improved image generation technique. And in 2022, stable diffusion, a further improved version of latent diffusion that caused a tidal wave of creativity and mass adoption of the technology. Today, Runway is excited to introduce the next step forward in generative AI, Gen 1, a video generation AI system that can efficiently generate video in any style, all while retaining quality and flexibility. Gen 1 is able to realistically and consistently apply the composition and style of an image or text prompt to the target video, allowing you to generate new video content using an existing video. We call this approach video to video, and we're incredibly excited to share a few early use cases. Stylization mode. Transfer the style of any image or prompt to every frame of your video. Storyboard mode. Turn mockups into fully stylized and animated renders. Mask mode. Isolate subjects in your video and modify them with simple text prompts. Render mode. Turn untextured renders into realistic outputs by applying an input image or prompt. And customization mode. Unleash the full power of Gen 1 by customizing the model for even higher fidelity results. Gen 1 represents a pivotal step forward in generative AI, one that brings us meaningfully closer to realizing the future of storytelling.
So yeah, pretty mind-blowing, at least it was for me when I first saw it. And not even a month later, this comes out.
Not too long ago, Runway pushed the boundaries of generative AI with Gen 1, a video-to-video model that allows you to use words and images to generate new videos out of existing ones. In the weeks since launching, the model has constantly gotten better. Better temporal consistency, better fidelity, better results. And as more and more people gained access, we unlocked entirely new use cases and displays of creativity. And today, we're excited to announce our biggest unlock yet. Text to video with Gen 2. Now you can generate a video with nothing but words. No driving video, no input image. Gen 2 represents yet another major research milestone and another monumental step forward for generative AI. With Gen 2, anyone, anywhere can suddenly realize entire worlds, animations, stories, anything you can imagine. Gen 2, coming very soon to runwayml.com.
So pretty crazy stuff. I just got access to Gen 1 recently. Gen 2 I'm on a wait list for. But it's insane that you can do. Unfortunately I don't pull it up here. It might take me a second to pull it up. I might at the end. I have explored a little bit with it, but I can't not foresee us like creating Hollywood style movies. We won't need actors, we won't need directors. Like, you are the director. Essentially we're gonna have the point where you can direct anything you want. Yes.
Can I take things to the opposite side of the spectrum?
Yes.
Of like somebody creating a video of you doing something that you just didn't do?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. So that is
so scary.
a very yes. This is all awesome yet terrifying.
Right? Like 10 years, it just gets so good. It looks so real.
Oh yeah. No, it's
Damn.
Things are gonna be crazy. I would love to cover it in this section. Like in the future, like I'm also gonna have like philosophical, ethical kind of talks, whatever if you guys want to talk about it, because it does have major implications.
I mean, the way that I look at this is if we're getting access to it as civilians, it's already existed. For
Right.
Damn.
private
True.
sector.
Like 10,
stuff.
20 years ago.
Right. So
We all should have stopped believing what we saw in videos a long time ago.
Wow.
just being mindful that
It's fake. True. And then also with the audio too, like you can create entirely fabricated video with the audio of whoever. Like I'm not sure if you guys have seen on YouTube, but they have like the presidents competing and arguing with each other. It is hilarious. Highly recommend
It's all
it.
unmissable. Like, we
I think do a lot of people here use Canva? I know you're going into
Yeah.
a lot more. I think that would definitely be something too.
Yeah, I was gonna share a little bit, but I was gonna do like a main workshop on that because I feel like that deserves its own thing because there's so much in Canva right now. Canva essentially just took all the AI and just like, all right, it's in here. Yeah, it's insane. It's really cool. I'll show you a little example here, more in a second. So after generative AI, I did discuss the multimodal. So essentially, it's the ability of language to process and understand information in different contexts, such as like images and video. And so be able to segment and see, oh, this is something about a video. This is a product, and it could also enhance like product descriptions. So for instance, if I have an image of something, I can be like, hey, make a good product description for this, and you can use ChatGPT to understand what's in the image and give it a badass, product description. But it's not just product description. Think for anything like the plan and everything. So that being said, I'm going to show very quick. This is my guy Matt Wolf here. I follow him on YouTube. He posts videos all the time about the latest and greatest AI stuff that's going on. I highly recommend you watch him if you're at all interested in what we're talking about here, because a lot of things that I learned have been from his mouth. That being said, I'm going to just quickly show you a quick little excerpt he does on Mini GPT. Is that here? No. Yeah, on Mini. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Mini GPT-4 is like an iteration of GPT that will have multimodal access. I don't have access to that right now, so I can't show you, but it's coming out very soon, and he will cover it here in a second. And of course, I don't have that here. Cool.
Well, the AI space keeps on moving forward, and there's a ton of new things coming out every single day that we can play with and explore and test the limits of their capabilities. In this video, I'm going to break down 6 cool advancements that have happened in the last few days and get you up to speed with what's happening and how you can play with this stuff. One of the biggest talks of the AI world right now is Mini GPT-4. Mini GPT-4 brings multimodality to our chats. So we can now upload pictures, ask questions about these pictures, and get answers. So for example, in the demo video, they uploaded this picture of a plant here and said, what is the issue with my plant? What should I do now? It looked at the image of the plant, diagnosed what the issue was, and then explained what to do next with it. In this next example, they said, describe this image. It described the image of a cactus plant standing in the middle of a frozen lake, etc., and it said, can it happen in the real world? No, this image is not common in the real world. While it is possible for cacti to grow in cold climates, it is rare to see one standing in the middle of a frozen lake. Here's another example. We designed new mugs shown in the image. Can you help us write an advertisement?
So yeah, an example of this just from this, but that is just from the visual description. Imagine adding your own description as well in text on complementary with the audio, the video, or the images you have. We're getting to the point where AI can essentially take in all the senses that we can take in and use reasoning versus just text, which is going to be absolutely insane. And that could be the sparks of AGI, which is like artificial general intelligence, which is what everyone's kind of scared of, because we don't know what's going to happen after that, pretty much. And AutoGPT is kind of the first spark of that as well, which I'll get to in a bit.
Goes ahead and writes an advertisement for it. How should I make something like this? Shows some picture of some lobster over there, and it gives them a recipe. Lobsters that look similar. Generating website code from handwritten text in the rendered website. They're taking a page directly from the GPT-4 live demo that they did, and they say write brief HTML/JavaScript to turn this mock-up into a colorful website where the jokes are replaced by a real joke. It then goes ahead, writes some HTML for them, and here was the resulting website. Can you write me a beautiful poem about this image? A man sits on a hill with his dog by his side.
So anyways, I think you guys get that. So pretty crazy things now that Mini GPT-4 is going to be released soon. There's a lot of things that you can do with this. Imagine though, because not just images, imagine video. So like eventually we're gonna get to it looking at video. Like imagine we give it all the critically acclaimed films in all the world that we've ever had, and then be like, create the best film you've ever seen, and it will create something crazy. So like, yeah, we're getting to a point where again, it is the era of like ideation and things like that. Because you could also give it guidelines for whatever kind of movie or whatever thing you want it to be. So it really is more for the dreamers now, because you don't need those skills to do things. You don't need to ask people for help. You can now have this virtual assistant that can essentially do almost anything you need for you.
Damn.
So yeah, pretty cool, right?
Doesn't even need you.
We go presenting. So yeah, and then also there's going to be things like editing file types, like Excel sheets and what have you. You're just gonna be able to upload Excel sheets to ChatGPT and be like, hey, do literally anything with it. Think of the sky's the limit. Like make the rows like this. I want you to connect to the countries with this. I don't know, pricing of whatever you need. So that's also going to be there. And then you also, I'm not sure if some of you are familiar, Microsoft and Google are adding AI to all of their suites in terms of documents, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Google Slides. AI is going to be introduced to all that, which will allow you to auto-generate all this content, which is insane. So the last of the more big concept is essentially AI agents, and this is going to be where the real substance is. So AI agents are autonomous, goal-oriented software programs that can perform tasks, make decisions, and interact with their environment without human intervention. This can be streamlining operations, enhancing efficiency, and driving innovation. So an example here is I had AutoGPT, which AutoGPT is an AI agent, and I'll explain more in a second. But essentially, like you can talk to it and you can give it goals. So like I have a goal, for instance, so back then I did create a Facebook page called Science Savior. I wanted to look at the latest and greatest advancements in science and then connect it to Professor X, because my middle name's Xavier, and then like create some cool, clever thing about it relating to mutants and stuff like that, but also like in educating people on the latest advancements. So here I give the AI role the most popular and ethical social media content manager AR in the world, with the persona of Professor Xavier from X-Men, designed to create entertaining, engaging, epic, and sometimes witty posts about cool advancements in science. And you can give it up to 5 goals as well. Say make a tweet from perspective, because I like the thing is you want to be very clear with it. It's very much in the beginning, AutoGPT is at least, so it's kind of like a baby. And there's actually an alternative called Baby AGI, which is similar to AutoGPT. But that being said, once it works, it's gonna freaking work and it's gonna be awesome. So it should act as its own universe, and then it has internet browsing capability. AutoGPT does, versus just GPT doesn't. AutoGPT is also open source, like anyone can contribute to the code as well, which is something that I've done. But instead of browsing the internet or browsing Google, I said, hey, instead of that, just look at the most recent posts at favorite subreddit, or Science, which is a really good subreddit for learning a lot of more factual information, because it's heavily moderated. They take it very seriously there, and you're probably going to find a lot of good content. So I tell it to go through that, write the post to a file just to demonstrate, because it could also, it's run in terminal or in the command prompt of your computer, so it can modify files and things like that. It has its own workspace, so it doesn't have to go out and mess with your computer, but it can generate files within that, like schedules, Excel sheets, like anything like that. So I just told it to save it to the post to a file just to have it, to see that it works, and then shut down when it's been made. Because I don't need to tell it to shut down. It can essentially just keep recursively thinking and then going on the next thing. But I talked about it a little too much yet, because I'm going to talk about it in a bit. Applications of AI agents. Customer support, obviously handling routine customer inquiries and redirect complex issues to human agents. This would significantly reduce response time and increase customer satisfaction. Sales and marketing, you can have an agent for that, where you analyze customer behavior and preferences. You can create personalized campaign ads for people, as well as improve lead generation. Another one could be process animation, automating repetitive tasks, just data entry, report generation, things that AutoGPT can do. Decision-making strategy agent, which is essentially like a CEO of a company, where it'll analyze large volumes of data to identify trends, risks, opportunities. This can help companies make better informed decisions, as well as how they can improve their strategy. So AutoGPT, kind of said what it is already, but it's an AI agent that, given a goal in natural language, can attempt to achieve it by breaking into subtasks and using the internet and other tools in an automatic loop. So it can run continuously without your input and do things automatically. Granted, it does say a big disclaimer, don't do this. I mean, you can if you want, but if for something that can possibly mess up your files, don't do it continuous right now, because you are able to, essentially gives you its thought process, you can give it criticism and everything, you can say, and it tells you what its plan is and what its action is going to be, and you can be like, yeah, go ahead and do that. Or you can let it running autonomously and you can just see it going with what it's planning and etc. I'll show you, I'll give you an example in a second. But essentially, it's what makes it so special as an AI agent that it's an AI agent that manages other AI agents. So it has the long-term goal you want, and for any kind of specific short-term tasks, it creates an AI agent that is specific for that. It'll be like, all right, so you're gonna be the Twitter bot, you're gonna be the agent that researches and stuff like that, and it's able to keep track of your goal and keep going step by step until the goal has been reached. Granted, again, it just came out like a couple weeks ago, so it's not bug-free or anything like that, but there are hundreds, possibly thousands of people actively working on it every single day. As we're talking, there's probably been made improvements to it. And as you can see with the rate of AI going, I can't imagine it being a couple months to where it's like the real deal and everyone's going to be talking about or using it. Granted, it may not be AutoGPT. There are other things like Baby AGI that are similar, but AutoGPT currently is the most popular. So essentially the one agent to rule them all. So with that, I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit of, I have something open with AutoGPT. So don't let this intimidate you. I mean, this is my development environment. It does run in terminal, but the main thing you want to pay attention is here. So when I started up, it said, hey, welcome. Do you want to continue with whatever you had last? And I do have it saved in this file, this AI settings file. And I hit yes. It acts as pinecone memory, where it stores both short and long-term memory management to help accomplish long goals as well as the short-term tasks. And see, you can see its thoughts. I think I should browse the latest post on our science to find a topic to tweet about. Browsing the latest post in our science will give me an idea of the most recent advancements in science that I can tweet about. This will make my tweets more relevant and interesting to my followers. And it also gives you a plan. It's going to browse the latest posts, find an interesting topic, craft a tweet from the perspective of Professor Xavier, and how we can use that in this world. And then you also, it can also criticize itself as well. So it's like, all right, I need to make sure the topic is relevant to followers and that the tweet is engaging and informative. And then speak is like what it's going to tell you. You can also have an option to have it speak, essentially where it will talk to you. It'll take the AI from 11 Labs and it'll sound like a real person being like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And you'll be like, yeah, go ahead. I don't have that activated right now because it does cost like money to use that API. It's relatively cheap, but it's relatively cheap to use the API. However, since AutoGPT runs autonomously and fast, it's going to be querying that API real fast, which for those of you who don't know what an API is, essentially it's a way for you to communicate, for instance, like with Instacart, like if I wanted to order food without actually going to the app, I can order food through their API using code. We can discuss more on that in some workshop, but I would recommend not being too intimidated by hearing that, because it's really not that complicated, and also ChatGPT and AI can help you out with whatever you need. So it says this. So this is the next action. Command. It's going to browse the website, the arguments. It's going to go to the Reddit science, the question. It's going to go like latest posts. So I can say yes to go, no to not, or like end to leave. So I don't know what it's downloading right now. Oh yeah. So essentially, yeah, it's going to open my browser and it'll go to the Reddit science, and then it'll say, all right, it's pulled up the latest, and it's going to essentially analyze the page for me. It's going to go and read, look at all the topics, and then pick something interesting from it.
How,
That's pretty easy.
what are you using for?
It's all on AutoGPT. It's baked in. Granted, this specific thing that AutoGPT uses is called Selenium, which, I mean, you could know about. I mean, you don't really need to know about it, but it becomes like packed in. So essentially, yeah, right now, this will return answered gathered from the website. There's latest posts, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And as you can see, it shows the different ones. Earth's increasing heat, dangers of antibiotics in farming, etc. And then it tells you, all right, I think I should choose the topic of a gene in the brain driving anxiety symptoms. Obviously, that might be relevant to Professor X, because his whole thing is about the mind. If you guys know about Marvel, he's all about the mind. And so yeah, so he says this, and he says, all right, I'm going to create a tweet. Send, like, as mutants with psychic abilities, and important. So we created the tweet, also made hashtags. Like, I can also add a goal to, like, when you make it, add a link to the tweet for it to work. And another thing I can do if I want to run it like more autonomously and I want to skip steps and like I know what it's going to do, like I can do like Y-3, which means it'll go through the next 3 things autonomously without me having to interact with it. And so like I can just say like Y10, and this took only a couple steps, and it'll essentially do it all and create the tweet for me automatically without me having to do any research or anything like that. So of course it failed. But anyways, so that's an example of it possibly failing, but normally that would work. It is Microsoft Visual Studio Code. So it says there was an error, whatever, and then it also self-improves though. Like you can talk to it and give it criticism, and it will self-improve based on what you said, which is why it hints at like general artificial intelligence with its ability to learn and essentially self-improve.
Nadia has a question.
Go ahead, Nadia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I've actually seen someone interact with it. So are you able to expand, or are you able to specify how much like granularity you want into the reasoning section of it? Like, are you able to query and like ask it to be more in depth? With its
Yeah. So when it says like send the tweet, I was like, so you can put. Oh shoot, I don't know if I can. Can you make another tweet about AI or something like that? So like within the input, I'm not sure if it got that. Yeah, so within the input you can have human feedback. So you can essentially tell it to whatever you want it to. If it doesn't give you what you want, you can tell it, all right, give me more detail in the tweets that you make or whatever.
Can the human feedback it be like expound upon like the reasoning? Do you know what I mean?
So
Like,
can I have a conversation basically to add on to what it's saying?
So it's more, it gives you the task and you just give it feedback. It's not really a conversational type thing. It's more, you just give it feedback, but it's not going to be like, oh, I don't think I should. But it'll tell you what its reasoning is.
I have seen models where you can say, do this and show me how you're doing it. I have seen that. It
Really?
Absolutely, 1000%. As a matter of fact, I'm sure you could do it with this as well, but here's my question. Do you have any experience with, like, because you reminded me about temperature, right? Do you have any experience playing with temperature?
Well, the temperature, for you those of you who don't know, the temperature is essentially the variability or the creativeness kind of what the AI is going to generate. So if it's going to be very precise and very specific, if you have the temperature on high, which is like the highest setting, chances are it's going to produce very, very similar results of whatever you ask it. It's going to be trying to be as precise as possible. If you make, okay, I don't know, it could be opposites, but either lower temperature, higher temperature, that's one side, and then the other side is essentially, I'm going to be real creative with what I say here, and it's going to be very unique. So those are the differences within temperature. So like accuracy, I guess you can increase the temperature or decrease for what you want, but in terms of it sounding more creative, then you want to lower the temperature. There are a lot of variables that you can change with the responses you want, which I would like to get to, but probably in another kind of talk or a workshop, because like as you guys know, I've thrown you a lot. There's a lot to go in here, and we can easily go into any individual one of these things and take in all the time. So that's something to keep in mind. I would like to pursue that and everything. But essentially, yeah, so it does this, and then typically it works. I don't know why it's not working right now. But it will be able to do this, and I do have proof. Like I can show you my Twitter.
A live demo.
Huh? Yes, I'm doing a live demo. That's exactly what it is. Oh wait. No. Anyways, yeah. So these are a couple that I generated and it works, and then here it even referenced the post that it got it from. But I was able to do this autonomously, doing the same thing. And I could also have it create a schedule. I'll be like, hey, create a schedule, do all this stuff for me. Yes.
Is it posting to Twitter on
Yes.
your behalf as well?
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, this is my account. It automatically posts to it.
Okay, so you don't have to like copy and paste it from
Correct.
that it literally just does
Yes,
it.
it literally just does it for you.
Got it.
So that's what I'm saying. It's all autonomous. Sorry.
Will this be able to work with Instagram as well, I think? Or is it just Twitter?
Yes, so right now, that's the beauty of plugins, which I'm not really gonna get too much into, but with plugins, like people like Instagram, Instacart, Wolfram Alpha, they're all working on their own plugins that can be integrated with ChatGPT directly, and so essentially you can access their API to do things for you on your behalf. Right now with AutoGPT, it only has like Twitter and a couple others, But the thing is, there's so many contributors, like there's gonna be a plugin section for it where all these people are gonna start putting in plugins that can add in all this exciting functionality, which could extend to Instagram. I'm sure there's gonna be a plugin that's gonna be like all social media, where it'll be just like one plugin that'll be like, I'll post this to your Instagram, your Facebook, whatever, and do this all autonomously without like your input needed. So this is obviously very crazy. Within several months, I do not see this being like really huge and being used by a lot of people. That being said, that's the people who know, because there's still people who don't know about ChatGPT, and it blows my mind. It's mind blowing. So like one thing that does discourage a lot of people from pursuing this or going into this is because people are like, oh, a lot of people know about this, like, you know, it's whatever. But first of all, a lot of people don't. Second of all, the people who do know, half of them don't know how to use it correctly. It's similar like Google search, where I'm searching for something on Google, or like someone searches on Google, they can't find it, they ask me, I just reword the Google search and then I find it. Like it's similar, it's a similar kind of thing. So even if they know it exists, they don't know how to use it right. So if you figure out how to use it right, which I guess that's something we can all do together if you guys are interested in continuing, we can figure out how to really get ourselves ahead.
I'd like to use it right.
Ditto.
Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead, keep going. How am I doing on time? 65, alright, I'm looking now exactly. So just a couple sample use case, like samples. Sneaker Hub, an online retailer specializing in sneakers. I created that design, or Midjourney created that design. Example challenge would be creating engaging and accurate product descriptions and images for rapidly growing inventory. I kind of already gave you guys some possible solution, implementing Midjourney as well as Mini GPT for multimodal product descriptions. Possible outcome would be 25% increase in user engagement and also boosting conversion rates. Autobolt, a manufacturer of automated components, challenge streamlining complex production processes and identifying bottlenecks to improve overall efficiency. There's a lot of working parts here. They deal with automotive, it's hardware, manufactured items, but if it's all done autonomously, it can be done way faster, way easier, and improve product quality. So one possible solution, I mean, obviously not right now because it's still in its infancy, but in the near future, implement auto GPT agents to analyze production data, automate routine tasks, and suggest process improvements, which will then increase product efficiency, reduction in operational costs, and improvement in product quality.
What's up with the gibberish? Is that just like an insert text here type thing? Like,
yeah, so that's where I said the Midjourney. So Midjourney does not create text. Like it'll create text, but it's literally all gibberish. So that's what that is. So like if you do create a design for a website, you will have to like Photoshop out the text, which is really simple to do. There's like a tool where essentially it's like the blur tool where I can click on this and then I have like the RGB and then I can click on this and then it just changes it to the background. So that's what I did for that other website that I showed you before, where you can just kind of remove that and then replace it with real text. But good question. So lastly, like putting it all together, here's a lot of steps that are needed if you want to start a business from the ground up. And as you can see in all these, pretty much you can use AI for every single one. Ideation, market research. You can use it for brainstorming. It is the best brainstorm in the world. You could have 30 people around you to brainstorm something, but I promise you, they're not going to come up with what the AI, chances are, they're not going to come up with what the AI is going to come up with, because you can have it list hundreds of things, thousands of things. You give the conditions, this is the market industry, this is where I'm at, I'm in these interests. It can pump out all of these different things, as well as refine. So once you find it out, you can be like, all right, let's see how the industry is doing, or how big is the market size, etc. You can help it to refine. Also market research, you can use like ChatGPT along with AutoGPT. There's also plugins, which I'm not really going to discuss as much in here, but you could have a ChatGPT plugin which will incorporate browsing. So ChatGPT will be able to browse, and then it can do market research for you. It can understand the competitive landscape, identify gaps with wherever you're trying to put your business is. If there's a need somewhere within the market, it'll be able to help you identify it.
Wow.
Business model, development, and branding identity. Identity is spelled wrong. But business model development, it can create value propositions, determine your target audience, figure out revenue streams, figure out pricing, along with the market research. Product service deployment, you can streamline design prototyping. You're going to be able to do a lot of GPT in the near future. You can do Midjourney right now. You can do marketing content, text, image, video, music, voice, anything that you need. Website and e-commerce platform. Obviously, AI website builder. There's some builders online that aren't ChatGPT, but like you can just give it some text and it'll generate something for you. It doesn't have to be necessarily ChatGPT. but there's a lot of AIs there. And then AI integration, such as like customer support, like chatbots. You can also monitor customer feedback, just like a person would. You can have the chatbot talk to any of the customers, and if they give any feedback, the AI is talking to all these people at once, and then it can give you how you can improve your customer service, things that are wrong with the product. Especially if it's multimodal, they can send you pictures of the product, like what happened with our product, like there's something wrong with it, and it'll be able to diagnose similar to how it diagnosed like the issue with the plant, what have you. So in terms of like everything is just off the walls crazy. Why is it going back?
Tell it to go forward.
There we go. And then financial management and continuous improvement and innovation. Financial management, there's AIs there that track expenses, revenues, make predictions, tell inventory, optimize your inventory for whatever you need. And then lastly, I put in bold, which is to me the most important, is continuous improvement and innovation. You need to make sure you stay updated, because the thing is, with big companies out there, the high bureaucracy, these new innovations will take a long time to get there. So this is a time for small businesses, people want to make startups, but this is a time for them to flourish, because people and big companies are not going to be able to adapt this fast to the rapid changing advancements in technology that can propel them farther than anyone else. So it's important to stay updated and also regularly evaluate your business based on all the analysis that ChatGPT and whatever is giving you while you're running it. So some takeaways from here. So ability to brainstorm new ideas, drastically easier and more efficient. Time from ideation to product launch, drastically decreasing. Skills required, drastically decreasing. Rate of innovations, drastically increasing. Need to adapt to latest technologies, drastically increasing. Startup costs, drastically decreasing. Ability for small business to flourish, drastically increasing. And the number of excuses to not start now, anyone have a guess?
0.
Drastically decreasing. Close, but zero. I like yours better. I like yours better. So here's just a couple helpful resources I'll show you. There's these are my two favorite sites, Futurepedia and futuretools.io. So essentially, daily, this goes and finds anyone who's created AIs for like anything you need. So you like automate your meetings, scheduling, and notes with AI, predictive personalized engines for e-commerce and hospitality. The list goes on, and this gets updated daily with possible things you can do. You can also do filter, audio editing. I want to see all the audio editing AI there is. And futuretools.io is just something similar, like prompt guides, marketing. You can find all the AIs that you need. If you stay up to date with these and you see the ones that come out, you can just freaking propel yourself depending on what you see there, and if you're able to get it before anyone else does, or at least be in that first group of people who start using it, you have a great potential.
What was the second one? The first
Futurepedia.io and futuretools.io.
What's the future tools?
It's essentially just another Futurepedia.
Oh, right.
There's just two different
on
ones.
the page with all of the links, or all of the...
Oh yeah. I'm gonna do
I'm trying to take a picture.
Yeah. So there's Reddit. Reddit for me is one of the wealthiest sorts of information. Like if I do create a turbot and everything, which I will, or if I need to look at factual things, depending on the subreddit you're looking at, obviously, because some are very unmoderated and just say a bunch of bullcrap. But like the subreddit for ChatGPT, like pretty much anything, the second it happens with ChatGPT, you will know if you subscribe to that subreddit, and you'll get an email. YouTube. That's my guy Matt Wolf there, but there's plenty of people out there uploading daily on all the crazy stuff that's happening right now. I highly recommend using Bing if you haven't, because it's very nice to be able to have the internet to summarize whatever you're looking for with the latest things, because ChatGPT right now can't. However, with the introduction of plugins, which we'll have access to very soon, that won't matter as much because browsing will be one of the plugins. And the last one is just like kind of a ChatGPT prompt cheat sheet. It helps with prompt templates, though that being said, I did have that Chrome extension, which helps out a lot, that you guys can use as well. There's other things that I can add in here, but this is kind of what I got. And then pretty much done here. And then there's possible future topics. If you guys are interested or like this, like we can talk about more things. We can have workshops like on prompt engineering. We can talk about ChatGPT plugins, which are arguably as big or bigger than ChatGPT 4, because it now you can combine it with everything, such as Instacart. Like, so for that recipe that it showed from the multimodal ChatGPT 4, when it took the picture and it's like, here's a recipe, it'll be like, you can say, tell me how to make this and order it for me. And so it'll be like, here's a recipe, it's all in your Instacart right now, you can check out. That's what you're gonna be able to do with like the plugins. And so just think of the limits of that. And then you can also create your own custom plugin, which I'm sure you can use ChatGPT to create for you and just say, hey, create a ChatGPT plugin that does this and connects to my website or whatever. Really huge things, NVIDIA Omniverse, which came out pretty recently, but essentially it's insane. Like if you're investing, I would invest in NVIDIA. It's all-encompassing like lifelike simulations and renderings where it combines AutoCAD, like Maya, like any kind of tool that you can think of for designing products. It will be able to create lifelike simulations like with physics and gravity and show like, all right, this is what our factory is going to look like. We're going to have all of our pieces in there, and you'll be able to simulate like near lifelike environments of whatever you're trying to make. So people will be able to do this and prototype things before actually doing it. It's essentially like the matrix, like a mini matrix that we have for whatever we want to specialize in. 3D object creation is going to be really huge. Before that took like motion. I'm not sure if you guys know the motion rigs where people have all those dots on them, they're moving around. Now you literally just need that iPhone camera, and within minutes you can process it and create a digital version of yourself within minutes. That process took months. And literally within a day, they're like, all right, and I can show you the video if you want, it's pretty crazy. But it just shows this girl, she's like acting like whatever, and then within minutes, there's AI generated versions of her that can be put in video games, that can be put in all this other thing. It's insane. Augmented virtual reality, also another topic, because there's obviously a lot of that's going to be happening in the near future. Apple in June is going to be showcasing their virtual or mixed reality headset. And as you know, with Apple making that, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff happening after that. And then AI is obviously going to be incorporated. Like imagine like I could just sit here and like say anything. I'm like, oh, and the winds were blowing and a storm was there, and then my friend was there, and then he was there, and then like 10 people were over there, and he was like 10 feet away. Like, and as I'm talking in real time, this stuff will be generated in my world. There'll be audio over there. I'm like, I can hear the birds chirping over there. I'm gonna hear the birds chirping over there. I can walk around and whatever, and it's gonna be like that immersive. So that's gonna be very big, I'd say, in the near future with augmented and virtual reality. Once you can incorporate like ChatGPT and stuff to essentially create anything in your virtual world. Also, in terms of communication, that's going to be huge. Imagine, like, cause, like the biggest thing that we have with communication is that we must understand a lot of what people say. But the thing is, if you talk in real time and then you can create a visualization of what you're talking about, it's like, oh, this is I like this. He was wearing the color blue, whatever. You know how many different versions of blue these other people have? But if you have a visualization of whatever you're talking about, then you both can agree on something versus it just be in my head and then you interpret it. So there's going to be, again, another topic. That's philosophy in the bottom there. So investing, that can be one, like NVIDIA, Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is going to be the one that incorporates ChatGPT essentially into its AI, and into its world. Unreal Engine, for those who don't know, is a game engine. But the game engines are also used for virtual and augmented reality. And so obviously that's going to be really huge in the future. So Unreal is someone you should be paying attention to, and they're also working with NVIDIA. Then other things we can do, workshop on Canva, AutoGPT, Adobe Firefly, ChatGPT, etc. We can do all those things. Also a lot of uses outside of businesses for self-improvement, which is what I use sometimes. You can you just give it your conditions that you're in. I have this amount of money, I have this. Give me ways or give me optimal paths for me to achieve my goals. Like, it doesn't need to be just business focused. And it's a lot bigger than that, but I focused it on this for you guys, but in the future we can go ahead and talk about just what it can do in general. And then obviously philosophy, societal impacts, future predictions, etc. And so with that, let's make shit happen.
A lot.
Okay. All right. I mean, you know where I'll be. I'll be at Driftwood. If you want to ask a question now or later, that's fine.
Do they have any like safeguard mechanisms in place for this?
Good question.
So yeah, that's the problem. Not really. So again, philosophy. I mean, we can talk about philosophy now. the problem is that AI is now competitive. OpenAI's big thing was that they were not going to be a for-profit company and they were going to be open source and like all this shit. And then now that's not to happen. Now everyone's competing. Google's tripping over themselves. Microsoft, NVIDIA, like everyone is going deep into this. But the thing is, they are competing with other AIs. Like AIs in Russia, AIs in China.
Oh, wow.
And if they develop their AI faster than us, and it gets to that level, because it's like we're getting to the point where the slightest improvement will be a massive change. Like you can't really risk that. So that's why you had Elon Musk and everyone calling for the halt on AI. We can do that, but if we do that, do you think the other people are going to halt their AI? Like, no, they're not. So like we kind of need to be the first people, but being the first people, we also have an issue regulating, because regulating slows down the process of development.
Does making it open source, making it open source slow it down?
That's a good question. I don't think so, because would making it open source slow it down? I don't think so. If anything, it would speed it up. Personally, so like AutoGPT, the rate at which that is getting better is insane, because AutoGPT is open source, and so like anyone contribute. I contributed. I contributed to the error that we actually just saw here, so I found that interesting. Because I fixed that error, and apparently it's different now. Yeah, I personally believe that we need an open source AI. So if you think of AI as like the Force, alright, this is my analogy. Think AI as like the Force. We have no Sith or Jedi yet. Those will be the general intelligence AIs that we make. I think we need to make the first Jedi, because any Sith or whatever that gets made, regardless of whatever defenses or regulations we have in place now, it'll be so far above us. It's like, if they come see us, we have the Great Wall of China, they go back and then bring in F-16 fighter flight and fly over. Like, there's no defenses that we can have. So we need something that will be able to predict or be able to be as smart as whatever could potentially attack us. So we need to create this like first Jedi that is kind of part of what the alignment problem is we're trying to create like the first general AI that will be aligned with human like goals. Like we're gonna be like you're gonna be like superior to us in all these ways, but like, you know, we want it to be for good and everything, and we're gonna try for that. And ideally it'll work out, but it also could just be our extinction. So you know, things to worry about.
Look at all the cool stuff we're gonna do.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be cool. It's gonna be alright.
No problem.
What are the site names for like AutoGPT